Why, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe on PlayFrame. This is different, you might be thinking, and yes, you're right. This just happened the second time I started the game up, so I figured we should all be here for it. Hang on. Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. When you boot the game up, it asks you to set the current time on the clock, and it keeps doing it for some reason. So I tried to do so, because I thought, hey, it might have significance. But then this happened. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12:00 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want. Even if it's not the correct time, you've earned it. All right, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Thank you. Well, that was nice. What a good game. And welcome back to it. Let's see if we can find some more ways this story can go. Begin.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I think we can skip the starting bit. We've now seen it. And here we are, once again, in the office. What shall we do today?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
True. His computer's on, though. It's the only one that's... Oh. I pressed a button and now it's off. Anything else happen? Any other computers on? No? Well, okay. Ooh. Can't just leave these running. It's wasteful. I hope my coworkers all saved before they got up and disappeared. Because I'm shutting down all their machines.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's see. Let's go left today to start. Start things off on the right foot with our narrator friend.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
There's plenty of time to take things in an antagonistic direction. In fact, I think we might start doing so now. Downstairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Incorrect. Down he went. Oh my. It's a little unnerving down here, and all the text is too small. Hello?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Oh.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. and at last he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation.
At last.
His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Whoa.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Oh.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
That's a good point.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Uh-oh.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oh dear.
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Like a normal person would do. I think we found an ending. Well then. Maybe our mistake this whole time has been leaving this office. Perhaps that has been the error.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly.
Fact.
The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait.
Yes.
Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come.
Surely.
Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Perhaps that is not the solution.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Is that computer still? Yeah. So maybe that's nothing.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I think today we go to the right. Ooh, awaiting input. Pressing buttons. Input received. Ooh. Hooray. That's different. Maybe I need to find computers like that one. Are there any others of these that'll open? Suppose I haven't tried a lot of these. Other doors. Who knows where they might lead?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference. Nor did it advance the story. Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office, because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Hey! What if that had been a puzzle, voice? Then you'd be complimenting me on how smart I was. For thinking outside the box. One of these is going to be unlocked, voice, and then won't you feel foolish?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What if... No. To the right it is, then.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It is a good lounge. I wouldn't mind another minute or two in the very good lounge. Collect my thoughts.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Speaking of drinks, can I have any? No? Okay.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Well, I tried looking for them elsewhere, and I've never succeeded.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
We'll see. Can't remember. Did I do that last time? Indecision. I know I went through the door on the right at one point, but I don't remember which of these two ways I went. Let's try this one.
So he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Button, though. Big red button. It seems so much more interesting than getting back on track. Oh, it is. Much, much more interesting. Button. This was the right choice.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office.
No.
He wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
Yes.
So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
I suppose I don't have a lot of other options.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Oh. No problem. Sure it's not this one?
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
I don't know.
It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went
Making
down,
such a big fuss about my sense of
left,
direction.
Down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now.
Great.
This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay. Okay. Are you sure?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Oh.
Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay.
But-
We just have to get back to, who am I?
It's okay, I've
kidding?
seen this one already.
It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
All right. But,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
suppose I did wander a weird combo of directions. Is this still... Oh. It's not even on this time. Huh.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh.
Huh.
Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Oh. Okay. Can't really jump, so, maybe not that way, but perhaps this way. Huh? Anything? Getting a bit lost. But that's a story, I guess.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
You're the boss.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe. I'm starting to feel like I can't be held responsible for whatever's going wrong at this point. Okay.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
You know, sure. Why not? Look at me being helpful. Was that spilled before? Who can remember? Hello. Well, there. Fixed it.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
Oh, yes.
The story. Here it comes.
Awesome.
Wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Narrator. This doesn't look right at all. What did you do?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Oh.
Congratulations!
Yay!
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Thank you.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
Well,
some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
I mean, I tried.
Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is.
Me too.
I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Okay. The Stanley Parable Adventure Line. This should be good.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
I see.
Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Pretty simple. Nothing like some nice, clear breadcrumbing. To lead me to... Hey, this wasn't open before. Now I see the problem. Previously, your story had some locked doors that I was supposed to be able to open, and you mocked me. You mocked me for trying these doors. I was trying to help and fix your broken door situation. For shame. I'll be accepting an apology now, thank you.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
Don't change the subject.
Nope. Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me.
Okay.
Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right?
Sure.
Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
I was going to say.
Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Sure. Ooh. Tunes to adventure by. That does help. Yes. Suddenly the whimsy of this adventure line is feeling a little bit more fun and spirited. What a grand time we're all having. We might just save this story yet. Yes. Whee! Can I ride the line? Woo! What just happened there? But it's fine, I think. Right? This is fine. Oh,
Wait,
good.
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Okay.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
Oh.
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. Studying. It's a pretty nice fern. Nice moss bed it lives in. Good fern. Dan will remember this. But, okay. Back to the lines, though.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Starting to feel a bit lost here. Voice.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
But... Okay,
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
Oh.
Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
ooh. I like this idea. I'm in. Heck with that line.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Kind of felt like I was going in some impossible circles there for a second, but it's sorted itself out. We're fine now. Story back on track.
Oh, no, not you again.
Hey.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
I appreciate that even though we are not acknowledging it, we are acknowledging the trademark over it each time. Boy, this thing's kind of everywhere, huh? Find your own hallway line. Shoo. That's right.
A choice. We get to make a decision.
Yes.
From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere.
Sure.
Which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin.
What?
So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic.
I think.
Come, Stanley. Our destiny awaits.
I'm going to take your word for it. This tracks.
Oh, hold up. What's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing. Wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Okay.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree?
I guess.
I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now.
Me too.
We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Yeah. Ah. Have we started over? Or no? Impossible to tell.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now I gotta turn off all these computers. It's becoming habit now. That one's not turning back on, though, and that's interesting. New content, you say? What? Well, that's new. Oh, we can't turn that down, can we?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
I think exactly what it sounds like. I would assume. Oh.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Ooh.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Loving it so far.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Sounds great.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Me too.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Gimme the content, Stanley.
I too am excited. Ooh. The jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle?
Ah. Press A to jump. Nice. Jumps remaining 35. 32, 31, 30. This is great. Got to experience all this new content. It's nice being able to jump. Enjoy it while it lasts. 3, 2, 1. Thus concludes our ability to jump. Worth it.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Almost definitely.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good.
Yes.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Me too. A catwalk. Thank you for enjoying the new
That's it?
content.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Well, slow down.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Well, okay. This is a little different than I remember, though. Seems the game's been a little updated.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Okay, okay, yes, sure, why not? Lead on. Oh. Narrator?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be?
Right.
But it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it.
Oh.
Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. I'm on board. Whoa. Now that's fancy. Goodness. Little different from the usual office look, but quite nice.
I call it the Memory Zone.
Ooh.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Oh, yes. Those were good times. Let's see it. Memory Zone. Oh. Don't forget the Stanley Parable.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Memory, sweet memory. The Steam page. 2013, when the Stanley Parable was released. The script for the narrator. Our first kiss, my first car, the release of Stanley Parable in 2013. It was all very good. The original remake. In Firefox window. Ads in the sidebar. Good times, good times. The Stanley Parable Indie Box Collector's Edition. Probably what it actually looked like. The Audience Award for the Stanley Parable at the 2014 Independent Games Festival. The BAFTA, it apparently won. No, the BAFTA went to The Last of Us in the category of story, but Stanley Parable has been written on it in tape, and that's something. Good times. Who could forget? In loving memory of the Stanley Parable. Smile because it happened. A trip down memory lane. Their first dollar. The game on a CRT like you'd have seen in 2013. Memories. An actual achievement the game had, or maybe still has, for not playing it in 5 years. Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. I also believe that's real. I also believe that the test achievement, please ignore, mentioned previously, also actually exists. I don't know and I haven't checked. I just believe it. Nominee for the BAFTA. For several BAFTAs, in fact. Game Innovation, Debut Game, and Story. Stanley Parable deals tough choices, says the LA Times in 2013. Nice memories. Good stuff. Whoa. This is quite elaborate.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Oh.
Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was.
Right.
It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing.
Well, come on.
It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
It's not all bad. I'm still having fun. Goodness, this goes on. Title screen. Who could forget the two doors? Of course. All the good buttons. The Person of the Year Time magazine thing for some reason. Oh, was this screenshot of development? Memory zone maintenance, you say? Ah. Locked. Had to try. What a space. The end is never the end. The greatest wealth is memory. I too remember the Stanley Parable. Good stuff.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Would that we all could be so lucky. The serious room. Can't seem to get into the serious room. I'm afraid I'll have to go this way. Which is... No, I came from that direction. But it seems to be my only option, as I am quite out of jumps. Spent them all in the jump room.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Hold that thought.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Shh, be cool. I'm snooping. Don't suppose I can have these drinks? No. So thirsty.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
Oh no.
I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Some probably, yes. No doubt. Well, some of them.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny!
Oof.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Don't take it too hard. I think you're doing great. Oof. Bleak out here. In the Steam review section. This is, I'm sure... Actually, no, of course it is. This is definitely all new. It's tough still, by the way. And kind of delightful. It's delightful if you're going to add more to a game like the Stanley Parable. Games have changed so much in 10 years that, like... Of course there's going to be a whole lot of new aspects of that to explore and play around with. Like, games and the game audience and the ways we talk about games, like, so much has changed in just 10 years.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
Sorry, buddy.
I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh, come on. You're taking this very hard. Remember the good times. In the memory room. The memory space.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh, man. This is very good.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah.
Who could skip this?
We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination was
all right.
The deduction therefore becomes... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think.
Okay.
So my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought?
Maybe.
Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation.
Surely.
Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial, something along the lines of, "This game is the best game." Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
What? Are you... narrator? I lost you for a second there.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Oh.
That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
I was going to say.
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall?
No.
I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall?
I'll try.
Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave?
Charge!
Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another.
It's not working.
I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door.
Okay.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Sorry.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
I noticed.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again.
Me neither.
I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening if only I'd held my tongue.
Yeah, you really
It's
shouldn't have
all
made
out
this
of my
button,
control
huh?
Now. Just you, just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, I know you too well. You'll be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all
it does
because of
loop
those
eventually.
reviews.
Okay.
Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head.
Okay.
I just couldn't ignore the negative. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all.
No.
It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction.
Well, good.
I feel as though I occupy space
You
in
could
this world
maybe talk to the
again,
plant.
and I have
Some people
cast
do
a
that, and it
shadow
feels like
onto
you've been
the
neglecting
wall.
this
You
one.
see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored.
Oh, good.
And already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness.
Well, I'm sorry
Come,
you need a captive
let us
audience.
sit in silence together
But
here
again,
for
the
just
plant,
a moment.
I think, is
Let us
ready to listen.
anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
I agree.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust.
Narrator, I'm sorry, this is...
Simultaneously.
You're going to
I
have
was
to
consumed
figure
by
out how to make your
I
own
could
button.
do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity.
Silence. It's kind of nice. For just a little bit. So, is this even working anymore? Battery's probably dead. Maybe I should try the wall again. No. I don't know why it would work now. Yes, I really am starting to agree that I think creating this button was a mistake. Sometimes you don't have to react to every bit of negative feedback you get to your game or other artistic product. sometimes you make the product worse in doing so. That's not pleasant, but, everything all right here? Well,
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us.
Hello again.
It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in
I'm
one's
glad that you
assessment of
found a way
others.
to
But of
enjoy
course, absolutely
speaking
anyone can leave
to
a
yourself.
review. So here's what we get.
And the plant.
We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing.
Narrator.
Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely
I'm gonna
away
give you a decade
from the
to cool off.
bleakness.
BRB.
In effect, we have...
still haven't implemented the door, huh? Oh, I get it. Last time we implemented a feature impulsively based on feedback, it did kind of bite us a little bit. We've learned our lesson.
The end is never the end, 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 is
Doing all right?
end, is never the 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 end,
Okay.
is never the end.
Hello? Is it leaking? A little bit? Might be leaking a little bit. Just as well, I think the plant could use some water. It's looking a bit thirsty. Well. Oh. Well, perhaps, if I skip ahead enough times, this place will crumble around me and I can escape. Yes. This might be our new and very good plan. Yes. Getting there. And hey, sunlight's nice. Gotta love that. Ooh. Well, this is just getting better and better. I'm really starting to come around on the button. The button is good, actually. Oh. The heck happened? We should not have made these walls so sturdy. Why do we make the buttons so sturdy? Oh. I guess we didn't. Seems like the whole place is kind of tilting a little bit. Look, freedom. Ooh, okay. Well, look at that. We made it to near the end of time. Earth is over. Or at least steam is. Just as well. Suppose we ought to just pick a direction, huh? I feel like the memory space didn't last as long as one would have liked. Except for this one boxy room. Ah! Well, here we are. Nostalgic. That was pretty good. Well, let's go ahead and call it. And maybe we'll come back and do some more of these, because there's definitely more ways this game can go. But, I don't know. I'll decide. Even if we don't come right back to it immediately, we can always do another random one-off of exploring the Stanley Parable some more at some point. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!